We are entering into this second hour. We have at least 30 minutes to converse environmental matters. You do know that the city under the sun, which is the capital, will be playing host to a major conference, climate conference, that will be happening from the 4th of September to the 8th of September, spearheaded by none other than the president of this particular country, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. And of course, we'll be conversing around the issues pertaining to the benefits of sharing natural resources in the counties. It is, I do understand, a bill that has been taken to the Senate as well. You can see my guest this particular hour is Gerald Ngatia, the coordinator of Community Forest Association. Gerald, it is still in the morning. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, morning, Gerald.
Maybe let me start with that particular question. Just walk us through that particular bill you've just tabled in the National Assembly as well as in the Senate pertaining to the sharing of natural resources within the counties. How does that work?
Yeah, the Natural Resource Benefit Sharing Bill has been a bill that has been going around both the Senate and National Assembly since the year 2014. The Constitution has got Article 69 of the Constitution gives the mandate of the state to ensure that there is equitable sharing of natural resource benefits in the country.
Yes.
But over the years, we didn't have a legal structure to actualize that article. But now we have the Natural Resource Benefit Share Bill that was first spearheaded by Senator Zani.
Yes.
And it didn't go through the last parliament. But now Senator Mugatana took it on.
Yes.
It has already passed the Senate, and now it is in National Assembly. One thing it will do is that this bill will ensure a trickle down of benefits in natural resource sector. That is issues of water, forestry, mines, petroleum, sunlight, geothermal, name it, so that the people who host those resources, the county government, the communities, may be able to feel the importance of conserving resources in this country because they will own them and they will be able to know that they are now getting something out of what they have been conserving over the years.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful bill.
Yes. I can see you also proposing a benefit sharing authority, a body that will be running that particular sector.
Yeah.
But in terms of how will that sector enhance the collaboration, I do understand, between the national government and the county so that it cannot be just a devolved matter? How will that particular authority see that there is that linkage between the two levels of government?
One thing, the correction of revenue is on KRA.
Yes.
So the authority is just there to oversee the resources that are collected in natural resources are distributed equitably. The national government, out of that kitty, will get 60%, whereby that one will go towards conservation, having people in the environmental sector working within the government. The other 40% will go to the county government, whereby that will also be divided into two. The county government, out of the funds that let's assume you have about 100 million.
Yes.
Collected nationally, natural resources, water, mines, whatnot. The 100 million divided 60%, that is 60 million will go to the national government for them to be able to manage the natural resources. The 40 will go to the county government. Out of that 40, then you divide it into two. 40%, the county will have the prerogative to ensure that the entire county gets some benefit. Because there are some areas perhaps you didn't have water, and that definitely will not be left out. But the other 60, where the resource came out, will get the social programs being taken care of. Let's talk about now a very simple example. You have sand. These beautiful buildings we have in Nairobi.
Yes.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
Where does that SAD come from? Kitui and Machakos, most of them. So, out of the revenue that is collected by the government on sand,
Yes.
some of it will trickle down to those people where they mine that sand. Some of them who have now been living in those holes because of poverty. Sometimes when the rains come, they are buried there. But the county government will have now a way of improving their livelihood.
Yes.
The less 40, because SAD is not mined in every sector within Machakos, will also benefit other areas. The 60% that was left at the national government, there are other areas that perhaps they did not get SAD harvesting, but they will have a small portion that will go to their areas to improve that their standard of living.
Maybe in that particular collection, it's a good bill that you're presenting before the parliamentarians. Let's say that body collects, let's say, about 70 billion. You're just saying that 60%, of course, will be trickling down to the counties, and the other small percentage will be heading over back to the national government. Maybe have you put mechanisms to ensure, given that you do know the country we are in, the issues of corruption, maybe how do you ensure that those particular funds reach the final destination that it requires to be steered to?
Yes, at the county level, there will form every county where you have natural resources, you'll have a county benefit sharing committee, where majority of them are community members. Then at the local level, there is the local benefit sharing committee that is also composed by the communities, who will now look at the social programs that they need to be done at the local level. And then the county benefit sharing committee will know and monitor how much has come from the national. If they have got only that $1 million, then it will be divided in the fractions that we said. And the county committee now will see where do we do restoration, what sort of programs do we do and where in this part. And it will also monitor what happens at the local level. And the authority is to oversee the agreements that are made between the local benefit sharing committees, the county benefit sharing committee, and the resource, that is the persons who are exploiting those resources. So the structures are there.
Okay.
It has built the structures.
Ahead of this particular summit that is coming, it's a big summit that will be coming this particular week. Maybe will we be seeing bright minds like you on that particular stage, trying to even see if leaders and other environmentalists can back you up in this particular bill when it comes to ensuring that we attain or get level of green energy in this particular country?
Yes, in that forum, given the chance, we being members of the community and who are the managers and hosts of environment in this country, would be able to give the views of that local person at the ground. That person who has been managing the water resources in this country. The water that, if without water, Nairobi will not run. The industries will not run. But the people who are doing conservation in the Aberdares, in the Mau, go there. So many of them not only do not have water, but they live in poverty. If only we had that trickle-down effect, we would ensure sustainable and that's a supply of those resources. The other day you saw some elephants being killed in Kajiado. It was a sad issue, but it is out of bitterness. Yes, these elephants have killed one of our own. Perhaps the other day a lion came and killed one of our own, but we were not compensated. And then out of that bitterness, you lost quite a number of elephants. It's very sad. Do we continue that way? No. We have to get a solution. We don't want to go that way. We don't want people destroying our forests. We don't want people cultivating on the riparian areas. But we have to have a solution in policy and in law. And also the goodwill or politics. Yeah.
Maybe given that the Paris Climate Accord and Kenya is a signatory to that particular agreement, with that in mind, Mr. Ngatia, it boils down to the issue of house gas emissions that are sometimes harmful to our environment,
exactly,
which has even environment experts up in arms in most part of the country. But we have watched a significant part of the African continent has agreed to that particular climate accord, but you'll see other nations, maybe the United States, from Europe and Asia alike, are the ones emitting those gases, yet African continents are feeling that particular pinch more than them.
It is true.
Yeah.
Climate change affects the local people so badly.
Yeah.
But even when we are going to the communities, yes, they are the main sufferers, but are they the contributors to the pollution? No. You go to the ground, you find that the people on the ground, food security because of erratic rainfalls, conflicts because of resource conflicts, water, our animals dying because of droughts, floods displacing people. But the contributors, the polluters are the big industrial countries. When agreements are made,
yes,
from COP1 to COP28, commitments towards changing that, we have not seen it fully. The ritual that trickles down is through donors. So we are told donors are coming, they will do this, they will do that. But it's just a drop in an entire ocean. And the question we ask as community, because we rarely participate in those communities, rarely go to that level, is that when they discuss, can we have some tangible commitments that will also actually change on the ground? Because deforestation, degradation will continue. One thing I always tell when I attend those meetings, sometimes I'm given a chance to attend some of them.
Okay.
I always tell them one thing. There is a man who lives at the field there. I call him the man with the axe. That man makes the decision whether the tree will live or will die. If he doesn't have food on the table today, that tree will be turned into charcoal because the family has to feed. If we had a solution on how he can feed his family, the tree will live. So it's us to see how do we change the livelihood of that man on the ground.
It's very nice, Mr. Ngatia, you even brought up the issue of the COP summit that was even held in Egypt. You could see even the African continent, leaders from our continent were imploring those superpower countries, as they call themselves, to ensure that those funds are directed to mitigating or curbing this particular issue. But there was none committed to that particular part. We have even seen our president clearly stating that maybe what should we as the African continent, even in Kenya, try to do and meet that particular gap?
It has been a long debate. And we have been seeing it as one example. Could be the red plus, the greenhouse effect. It's just like me, Ngatia, who have employed a worker in my house. And I always implore that worker to continue cleaning and mopping the floor. But as she is mopping the floor, I continue pouring more water on the same floor. And still imploring her that she's not doing enough.
Yes.
That's exactly what is happening on climate change and this greenhouse effect.
Yes.
The polluters are the major, those big countries. But they still improve on African countries and others, continue mopping so that we have less and less carbon dioxide in the air. But we don't see commitment on the other side. It's just talks, commitments, but very little coming down to help us to mop so that we have less. We have the land to plant more trees. The president is talking about 15 billion trees.
Yes.
It's a very good initiative if we were to reach that so that we get that a percent recover from the present 12. And it will mop up billions and billions of tons of carbon.
Yes.
But tell me, how much money do we need to do that? To raise one tree, one seedling, to about 3 years, so that we grow it, not planting it, will require about 200 shillings. That is raising it, planting it, taking care of it to a certain height that you are sure this will sustain itself. 200 times 15 billion. What are those people who are polluting going to contribute to answer being achieved that? That's the question.
Maybe to that trajectory of the 15 billion trees being planted ahead of the 2030 vision goal of not just this government, but then even the next government that will come into power. We have seen even this government trying to move the country from charcoal burning to using gas in terms of preparing their meals in their usage. Should that be an added bonus for environmentalists such as you, who have been advocating for people not to cut trees?
One thing that we say is that, yes, trees, it's not good to cut trees. But eventually, that person on the ground will have to eat today. The gas, yes, the government have done a bit of reducing the cost of gas. But still, it's still too high for the local person. That man on the ground. We have gone out to check, to see even studies of how women go through carrying fuel very long distances, the effects of health on them. But they still do it because you tell her to buy that cylinder. The cheapest cylinder you can get on the ground is about 6,000 shillings. Filling it, it's a minimum of 800 to 1,000 shillings. And you use it for 3 weeks or even 1 week when you are cooking with it. How many of those people down on the ground will afford that? And so the woman, when her young ready, will risk going 5 kilometers every day to get a load. Eventually they get backaches, they get diseases. Eventually they get in smoky houses. They develop chest diseases. It's a sad issue.
Okay, Mr. Ngatia, given that we are running out of time, maybe your final remarks ahead of that particular summit that we'll be witnessing here in the capital. Yeah,
what we would require is the summits, because I can see very many high-level people will come to discuss there, is to look at the issues of community involvement. How do we involve them, and how do we get alternatives in energy sources?
Thank you so much. That is Gerald Ngatia, the coordinator, Community Forest Association here in the country, who is advocating on legal strategies on the benefits of sharing of natural resources in the counties. And all the best to you as your bill is in the Senate. Of course, it has been scheduled. I saw the schedule of the Senate itself, and of course spearheaded by none other also by the Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana. We'll be keenly following up that particular. It is just a precursor to what will be happening next week here in the capital. The largest African climate summit will be held here in the capital. The city under the sun will be playing host to that particular summit for the next 4 days or so. Will be from 4th of September to the 8th of September, and spearheaded by none other than President William Samoei Ruto, who will be spearheading that particular program. Also, yours truly, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, will be bringing you that particular event live as it starts, and of course wall-to-wall coverage from our reporters on the ground at the scene, and of course in various parts of the country, just of course feeding into that particular climate summit that will be happening here in the country. We do understand national and international delegates will be streaming into the capital from Friday leading up to that particular summit. That has been our show this lovely morning. I do understand that we do have a lot of your views. Unfortunately, I'll be unable to read some of them given that we are out of time. I can see somebody here from Facebook called Thomas Ongoto saying, a great show. I'm watching from Kisii County rather. He's saying that We thank God that we did not witness violence before, during, and after the polls. That is a few comments. Continue carrying the conversation, not just the calls for review of the Constitution, but this particular issue of the climate summit, of course, both on and offline, given that it touches upon us. As you just heard from Ngatia, it is about the community. We are the affected people if we do not take care of our environment. That marks the end of our program this lovely afternoon. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. Don't go too far. Zainab on the other side of the studio will be coming up with Kurunzi Mashinani. Good afternoon.